In the previous episode, we got to know the story of Grace Sterling and the first Power Rangers team, but in the present time the mighty Morphin are still with the problem of Finster's monsters. Currently, Grace Sterling owns Promethea and knows the problem that the Rangers are having with Finster. Because of this, she appeared in the command center to help the Rangers. Something I should remind you is that Zordon disappeared since the arrival of the Black Dragon due to the explosion at the command center, and Alpha, along with Saban, have been trying to bring him back since he is in the middle of time and space. This is episode number 5 of the Promethea saga, and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic number 21. Now, Grace is inside the command center with all the Rangers, and something very curious is that after all the story she told them about the first team in 1969, now the Rangers no longer hide their identity from her. They are all without their helmets, and we can tell that they are very surprised with what they just learned about the terrible mission on the moon. Now all the Rangers start to ask Alpha for explanations, since Zordon had a lot of time to tell them about this whole event and he never did, but Alpha answers them that it was not his duty to tell them this, it was Zordon's. He also tells them that what happened in 1969 has been one of the biggest losses they have ever had, and when Alpha starts talking about Zordon's return, Grace learns that he is gone. Grace also explains that she is not trying to cause trouble by telling them everything that happened on the moon mission, as she understands that Zordon did what he thought was best for everyone, and that is that he doesn't like to get involved in the affairs of humans. Then Trini understands that Grace created Promethea in order to help humanity by remembering those lives that were lost on the moon mission, and Grace confirms to her that she is right. Despite all this excellent life story, Tommy asks Grace what she has come for, and she tells them that the situation with Finster is getting worse, so they must all work together. Because of this, Grace asks the Rangers to accompany her to Promethea, and we finally get to see this famous place full of technology. The first thing we can notice is that Promethea is separate from everything else and is basically a small city, so it's not just a building. Grace starts showing the Rangers all the things they have in this tech city, and Billy confesses to her that he was about to have an internship in this place, but unfortunately, other things came up. Even though they are all amazed with everything they are seeing, Jason wants Grace to talk about the most important thing, but she tells him that the place is also part of the important stuff she wants to show them. After this, she takes them to another important place in Promethea, and there they meet Andrea, chief scientist of the Alien Technology Division. In this place they are all standing in front of a dark place, and behind that glass there is something very important. Grace turns on the light of that dark room, which is really a technology prison, and inside this place there is a man named Tony. Grace explains to them that Tony is a normal man who leads a simple life, and while she says all this, the man begins to scream, asking to be taken out of that place because he does not understand what is happening. Jason gets a little upset and tells Grace that he can't hold a man against his will, but Grace and Andrea prepare themselves for something important that is about to happen. This supposedly normal man transforms into a monster with 9 cat heads, and the Rangers quickly realize that he is one of Finster's monsters. Grace explains to them that in Promethea they have managed to find a way to track the monsters with an energy signal that begins to emit before they are about to transform. At that moment, Grace asks Andrea to activate the electric current, and this gives a great shock to the monster until he loses his life. The Rangers realize an important detail, and that is that this man did not know he was a monster, but the men who were with Finster did know that they were monsters. Grace surmises that Finster found a way to implant human memories in them so that this would help them to blend in with other humans before they became monsters. Even though the monster had effectively died after the electricity, it still wakes up and starts attacking everyone in the place. This monster is looking for a way to escape from that prison, and no one understands how he managed to survive after being electrocuted. The monster manages to escape from that place, but in the last image we can see something very strange, and that is that one of its heads is still lifeless. On the outside of the building there is a big explosion, and the monster is now trying to destroy everything, but the Power Rangers are ready to stop it. All of the monsters' heads have different personalities, some want love and others just want destruction. Zack manages to cut off one of those heads, but the monster is still alive and starts to launch a powerful attack. Suddenly, a door begins to open on the floor, and meanwhile, the Rangers realize that the monster is still alive since it has 9 lives, so for now they must kill it 7 more times. At that moment, Kimberly manages to launch her arrows to take another life, so now they must kill it 6 more times. The other Rangers start attacking the monster hard on different heads, but Billy has already lost count of how many times they need to kill the monster. If we go by their heads, then he only has 3 lives left, but at that moment, something very big crushes the monster and ends another one of his lives. What had stepped on the monster was a giant robot that Grace built in Promethea. Basically, it's almost like having your own Megazord. We can notice that this monster has a very different style, and you can tell that it is built in a place full of human technology. After this, Grace proceeds to crush it several more times in order to finish with the last remaining lives of the monster until it is totally destroyed. Inside the warehouse where Grace keeps this giant robot, the Rangers ask her if this is a Zord, but she tells them that it really is a robot since it does not use energy from the Morphin grid. Despite all this, Jason is not convinced that it is right for Promethea to have built a giant battle robot, but even though Grace understands his point, she still tells him that at Promethea they are proactive in trying to make the world a better place in all areas. She also explains to them that after Rita hacked the Ranger Zords, they felt it was time to build a backup plan, and that's why they have the giant robot. Grace also adds that for now the important issue is the situation with Finster, so again, she offers the Rangers to all work together. Promethea is able to start tracking the monsters before they transform, but unfortunately, the transports are too slow to be able to quickly get to the places where the monsters are. Because of this, she asks the Rangers to be a part of this since they can quickly reach those places with teleportation and therefore be able to destroy those monsters before they cause a tragedy. At that moment, the Rangers receive a call from Alpha, which says that he has good news as they have managed to have a breakthrough. After this, the Rangers can hear Zordon's voice, saying that he has returned.